To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Welcome to the Talk About the Magic podcast, where you'll find inspiration and encouragement tied together with the magic of Disney. Now, here's your host, Joseph Ballesteros.
What is going on, Magic Cheers? Welcome to another Talk About the Magic episode. I'm very excited, very honored that you have decided to join me today, whether you are listening in your car or wherever it is, working out, whatever it is. Thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. I'm doing something new. I'm actually live streaming as well on Instagram. It's, there's so many different options in the world now, right? You can Facebook Live, you can Periscope, you can Instagram Live, you can do just like live streams for your own website. I mean, there's just so much. So I thought it'd be fun. I didn't tell you guys because I wasn't sure if I was going to do this or when I was going to do it. So I decided just to throw it up, try it out. And but yeah, so be sure to follow me on Instagram. So hopefully you can check out the live videos there and some kind of behind the scenes stuff you get to look at. And potentially, hopefully, I will be doing Facebook Live. I'm going to try that out. But Instagram, I'm very active on, and that's why I decided to kind of try it out here. And what I like now is that Instagram actually saves the live video. So if you miss it when it's actually live, you can, see it later on in the day. So that's kind of cool. But anyway, you're listening in the car or something. You're probably not going to listen to this on Instagram right now. Anyway, so let's get into today's show. This is episode 182. I'm very, again, excited that you're with me and you're taking the time out to listen. We got some other great surprises coming your way. I have some special guests lined up. Cannot wait to get them on the show. We're going to focus again on, the inspiration and that encouragement, by letting them share their story. So be sure to keep an eye out or an ear out for that, I should say. Subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss it when it comes out. But today I wanted to talk about social media. And in particular, there's so many different things happening, right, in the world right now. It's just crazy that there's just literally so much that you will read in a 20-minute period. I mean, things pop out so quickly from positive, negative, funny, sad. It's incredible. And there's a lot of podcasts and stuff out there regarding social media as a tool. And I'm talking more as how, we use it when, if we're not going to be using it as a tool, let's say for selling or marketing or trying to spread a message. Let's say we're just keeping in contact with friends. There's a trend that I've seen that has affected me personally in a negative way, and it's my own fault. It was me doing this. That happens, and that's that social media starts to kind of redefine you. And what that means is it starts to change kind of your foundation, your ground, who you were, how you were brought up or how you believe, regardless of how you're brought up, I should say, but what you believe, your morals and everything like that now, it starts to change. And it's interesting because what I've seen is, and I say what I've seen, and I hate to admit it, but also what I've been a part of is basically bullying. And not bullying in a way of like, hey, your hair looks funny or, you're a nerd or whatever. Like, I think that bullying actually now has gone way downgrading as technically bullying based on all the stuff that happens nowadays. But bullying in the sense of you aren't agreeing with me, and because of that I'm getting upset, or you're saying something and it offended me in such a way that I'm going to lash out, and this is where it gets scary, and this is where I say like it was happening to me personally. I would see something, right, and what's funny is there's a lot of friends on Facebook that I honestly have no idea who they are. Like, just honestly, when I first got on Facebook, just like I'm sure a lot of people, we immediately looked for friends and family and we talked. And then all of a sudden you kind of just got this like, hey, this person says he knows your friend or your brother or your sister. Maybe you know them too. And you're just like, whatever. And all of a sudden it kind of came like, wow, look, I have 3,000 friends on Facebook. So cool. And then you kind of realize like, well, I don't really know these people. They're just there. And that kind of happened to me. I was, basically accepting every single person because I was trying to grow my music and I was trying to, push it out there. And so this is before Facebook pages and stuff. And so it was just more like your profile. And so that's how it started for me. And I just started kind of accepting and reaching out to people, as many people as I could. And I just didn't really honestly know them. And I just saw, there's a little bit of familiarity there. I'll just be their friend. And what happened is more and more people that started getting my feed, I noticed my feed would just start getting so many different things. And what's interesting is this, like 3-4 years ago, Facebook wasn't the way it is now. And I don't know what changed, honestly. 3 or 4 years ago, people would, well, I guess I can guess what changed. People would share an opinion, and it would be that. But now what you get are so many, gifts, so many, easy to share, opinionated pieces. And then all of a sudden you get into debates out of these things. And so, like for me personally, like I said, it affected me negatively because I personally really love to talk. I love to debate. I love to think. And these are things that are great unless you're using them for a kind of pointless reason. When you go, here, let's simplify it for all of us Disney fans. When you go to someone and you try to explain to them that Disney World is the best theme park in the world, it's better than Fiesta Texas, and they fight you and they say, no, that's not true. I mean, yeah, right? So you know where I'm getting at. There's no way to debate somebody like that. It's just, you just say, you know what? You're talking crazy. I'll let you go. Disney's the best. You walk away, right? That's how you handle a situation like that. You just okay, that's fine. You think that because in the end there's no winning against somebody who's thinking that. And if you like Fiesta Texas more Disney, I'm not hating on you. I wish I had a Disney here. All I have is Fiesta Texas and SeaWorld, so I actually do enjoy them because that's what we have here. But just an example, you know what I'm saying. But what we see now is, on social media, it's so easy that now we see something, we don't agree with it, even if we don't know the person very well. We start putting in our 2 cents. And when they don't respond the way you feel like they should respond, instead of walking away or instead of saying, you know what, that's cool, it's what you think, you respond back. And you go back, and you go back, and you go back, and you go back. And what was happening, at least with me, is it was affecting not just like my experience with the internet and the time that I wasted, talking back, thinking I'm doing something good, right? Thinking I'm trying to help somebody by trying to convince them that my way is the right way. Even though maybe I'm not 100% sure that it's the right way. I'm so stubborn thinking that I have to share my opinion that I keep going back and forth, that it started also affecting me like personally. I found myself being negative in my day. I found myself being irritated quickly by somebody who physically was talking with me because they said something that I was so upset. And I kind of started losing a connection of what reality was and what social media was. And there's a couple of things that a lot of us, it's not to talk negative 100% on social media because there's people who are really trying to do things and they're sharing their opinion. And there's I think back about 2 years ago, a year ago, there was a big issue with all the stuff that was happening with Obama and the military and all this stuff. But anyway, I was sharing my opinion about something and somebody disagreed with me, but they did it in the most proper way. And for that, I'd say, kudos, bravo, because they were telling me, look, this is why you're wrong, blah, 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 blah. And I said, okay, I understand what you're saying, but 90% of the conversations don't go like that. Majority of them are, hey, you stupid, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? It just goes off. It goes crazy. And all of a sudden you find yourself getting heated and irritated and angry. And it took time for me to kind of understand and realize to just stop and say, why am I letting this get me? Why am I letting this person who I hardly know affect me in such a way? And then even more concerning was not only would it affect me, it would also sometimes start changing my ideals, my morals of what I thought was proper or not, and what I thought I should do and what I should not do, and what I think, because this one person who I hardly really know was saying something that wasn't really, proving a point against mine, but it was just more like I felt like, okay, now I'm feeling like if I don't say yes, people are going to start thinking of me differently. And then again, I had to realize, who cares? Who cares if people start thinking of me differently? I don't know who they are. I don't care if they think of me differently. But it's weird because the power that social media was able to have in that sense to really kind of grind me down and really expose me of thinking like, you know what? Maybe I should just copy what everybody else is saying because maybe I'm not right. Maybe I'm wrong. And like I said, the point of it is I could be 100% wrong. But if, as that saying goes, if you don't stand for something, you don't stand for nothing. And so what I noticed, though, was that with social media in particular, it was starting to redefine me. It was starting to change my outlooks. It was starting to change how quickly I reacted to situations. And most of the time, those reactions were done negatively. There were hardly any times where I would react positive thanks to social media. It was usually negative. And it just became kind of a concern when I realized that when I would open up my Twitter feed, when I would open up my Facebook feed, when I would open up any feed except for Instagram, which is why I think I love it so much, actually. But, when I would open up any of these, I would get these like immediate, big explosions of, oh, this is bad. Oh, this happened. This bad. This person's bad. Blah, 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 blah. It's like you go to Facebook, it's much more opinionated. On Facebook, you get a lot of people, typing long messages of why it's wrong. You go to Twitter, that's where you get because you only got, I think they raised it a little higher than the 240 characters now, but you don't get so many characters. So on Twitter, you would just get the harsh things. You would get the you're stupid kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And it would just start to change my outlook. And it's a scary thing because I think that happens to a lot of people. I don't think we realize how much power we are allowing social media to have on us, how much power we're allowing other people's negativity, other people's, ideas of what we should or should not be doing, or what we should believe in or not believe in, or how we should act or should not act. Like, what blows me away is this. If you stand for, we'll use a topic today. It's heated. And look, guys, I love all you guys. I don't want y'all to send me hate mail. I'm using this as an example. I'm not using it as a debate or nothing. But this whole thing happening with, the national anthem and NFL. People believe by bending the knee, this is making a difference. They're making a stand. And then some people believe that by doing that, that's not really doing anything, and that's just causing more drama and more, it's causing more, eyes to the wrong thing. Go on social media. And if you want to, maybe you haven't experienced this per se. Maybe your friends haven't talked in this way. But you could see, especially when they go to like one of the news articles that's talking about it, click it and look at all of the stuff that's being said. Now, like I said, I'm using that as an example. For you, you may not care. That may not be in your feed at all. But I can almost guarantee that there's something that's in your feed regarding something that's opposite of what you believe, something that's negative that could bring you down, and something that unfortunately at times may bring you down. But what we get is this back and forth of, hey, you said, I'm going to use this example again. Hey, I'm not going to use the knee thing. I'm going to use the Disney thing as an example. Hey, you said that Disney is the best park, but Fiesta Texas has better rides and has, better discounts. And the fact of the matter is their whole experience is just much better. And then you come back and you say, well, that's not true because, Disney World offers this and this. And, oh, yeah, but did you know this about Disney? Did you know that Disney didn't let women do this and this and this? And did you know that Disney was anti this and this? And then you say, well, okay, I wasn't talking about that. But look, did you know that the owner of Fiesta Texas didn't want to do this and this and this? And they wanted to take away this much money and whatever and this and this and this. And they took these kind of flags down to, oh, well, did you know that Walt Disney actually is working for the Illuminati? You see where I'm getting at? Like, you start somewhere and then it just starts expanding like in an insane different direction. And before you know it, you realize that you're getting angry and you're getting upset about really things you don't know or you don't really care about. And yet you're still taking the time out to fight about it just because you feel like you have to have that last word. You have to have the say so. And that's something that maybe you don't struggle with on social media, but I know I did. I struggled with that a lot. It would, and there were times when I wouldn't respond because I, like, for instance, didn't know the person. I legitimately didn't know them, and I didn't want to respond and then have them be, either cussing me out or threatening me or something like that. But I would still get so angry because I was like, how could you say that? So stupid, like blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? And I realized, like, why do I what? And I love my wife for this. My wife is so out of the loop with social media. She's awesome for it. She doesn't have a Facebook. She doesn't have a Twitter. She doesn't have an Instagram. She has nothing. She has a Pinterest, but it's like a fake email and everything. Like, she's off the grid. And, there would be times when I would say, like, oh my gosh, look what this person said. And she would kind of just look at me. She would be like, why do you care? You don't know them. Who cares? And it really would kind of get me upset. Honestly, it would get me upset. It'd be like, what do you mean you don't care? Like, you have to care. Look at what. But after some time, I kind of realized, like, well, she's right. You know, you don't have to care. That's the beauty of social media. You can turn it off. You can delete the app. You could turn it off your computer. You could get opinions and debate people and talk with people all day if you want to. But do it with people who truly know you, who truly care for you, and who truly are wanting to have a conversation, a constructive conversation, whether it's to convince you one way or another, or you're trying to convince them one way or another. But do it legitimately. Do it right. And so what would happen, like I said, is I would get in these big things with social media where I would just be fighting back and forth. And it just ended up being that I would be angry and bitter the whole day. And so what's interesting is, like, you know, when I kind of started putting the two together, and I started thinking, like, why do I feel this way? Why, you know, I started realizing that social media was redefining me. So to the definition of redefine, at least thanks to Google, is to define again or differently. And that's pretty simple, right? That sounds pretty simple, but think about it. Like, take a moment and think about your own personal life. Think about some of the situations you've come across when it comes to Twitter, Facebook. And this kind of seems trivial, right? I understand. This seems silly because you're like, it's just social media. But that's why I want you to really think about it. Because because it's social media, we easily push it to the side of our head or our brain and say, like, that's silly, it's stupid, I don't really care what they say. But really think about it. And you're going to find moments that when you read something, it got you upset. When you read something, it got you confused, it got you bitter, it got you, you know, frustrated, or, you know, whatever it is. That's redefining. Little by little, it is redefining your life, how you react, how you respond. You know, when you meet somebody for the first time and they tell you something that you don't maybe agree with, or you grew up differently than they did, manners kind of kick in, and you kind of say, oh, okay. And two things will happen. One, you will just not continue to conversate with that person. You will just say, okay, you know, have a good day, and you just go on your life like never before. Or you will say, you know what, even though I don't necessarily, you know, I'm not on the same page as this person, I'm going to be professional about it. When, you know, maybe we work together or something, I'm going to treat them, you know, like a fellow employee and be fun and cool with them. Doesn't mean I have to go home and call them up and, you know, go out with them or nothing, right? We say that. But with social media, we don't do that disconnection. With social media, we are constantly, did that person respond to me, what they say? Oh, look what they said. Oh, I'm going to write this back. Oh my gosh, can you believe what this person said? I have no idea what they said, and I have no idea where they are, who they are, their background, or anything like that. But I'm gonna tell them why they're an idiot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's funny because with social media, we don't do that disconnect that we do with real life, and I think it's because it's easy in social media. It's easy to stand behind our computer or you know, get behind our phone, give our 2 cents, and then turn it off, not think about it until we want to think about it again, which is maybe in our next lunch break. We look at it and we're like, look what they said. Oh my goodness. And in YouTube was fun. YouTube I thought was bad until Facebook happened. But like, for instance, another redefining moment that made me laugh was comments. Comments can be such an interesting thing and sometimes constructive and awesome. I've gotten comments before who said, hey man, I love this video. You know, one of the more popular videos on the channel is the facts regarding Oswald the rabbit. I've gotten so many people who've said, hey, I didn't know this about Oswald, cool, whatever. That's awesome. But I also have gotten a comment, and it used to be on my gaming channel, and the person just commented, hey, you're fat. And that was one of my favorite comments because I know back then it got me upset. It got me frustrated. It hurt my feelings. It got me angry because I said, who are you? Who do you think you are to tell me something like that? I don't know you. And if you said that in my face, we're not having a conversation anymore. Like, that's how angry I would get. And now it's one of my favorite comments in the sense that I look at it and say, look how ridiculous this is, that this person would type this. And I simply just never, ever responded to it. It's done. and I don't give that person any time of day. And I know that person's probably going to go to another video and say something that they want to say, and they're just looking for that response. But to me, when I read that, and I in that moment let it redefine me and redefine my actions, I realized, and now looking back, I can really realize that was a really big mistake. That could have led me down a because you have to think of it this way. There's a lot of people who read something like that, for instance, and they get really depressed, and they can get really, messed up mentally. They can really start focusing or trying to fill up these kind of depressed feelings with other things like food or addictions or other things. Like, it can get serious, like really serious. And when you think about that, when you think that you are a person who can type something negative to someone else without really knowing, but potentially could be completely destroying their life, like, that made me slow down. And that's why I'm saying I started kind of understanding what social media was, regardless of the intentions that it had, regardless of the intentions that social media had to, it was created, regardless if Facebook was trying to just join friends together and that Twitter was. The fact of the matter is that's not the way it is now. It does still come back to, if you want to connect with your friends and be, talking with your families, get their phone numbers, connect with them offline. Because online, while it's fun, I love the Disney videos. I love the cat videos. I love, the cute dogs saying hello, even though that's a little creepy. But a lot of it can really start messing you up. It could be wasting your time. It could be taking time away from your family, your children, your husband, your wife. It could be. And now listen, I understand how kind of like weird this sounds, considering I'm on social media a lot. And a lot of times I'm promoting myself, the podcast, I'm promoting the show. But just like anything, my point is, just like anything, you don't want to do too much of it. You don't want to let it to start to redefine you. When you start noticing changes, take a break and say, what can I do differently to not let this affect me anymore? And for me, what I had to do is, and if you followed me on Twitter, you might know this by now, but I got off Twitter. I was hardcore on Twitter. I loved Twitter. And then they started introducing their stories and what was it? No, it wasn't stories. It was something else. But basically, it was like their little news feed of, you might think this is interesting. And they would just share like opinionated pieces that were all, of course, either anti, something to do with Trump, or anti something to do with America in extent, or anti something to do with Christian, and it just started getting irritating, ridiculous, because my thing is this. Give me facts. Like, look, I know everybody doesn't like Trump. I know I have issues with Trump. Totally get the idea of Trump. But here's the thing. When he comes out and he does something in a negative way, for instance, just an example, and again, I'm not trying to get in debate, but when he comes out and he takes all the Hispanics and tries to put some, deport them and put them in a holding cell or something like that, just because he's doing that, he's rounding up people. Like, we have a concern there. But when you get just opinionated pieces that say he could, well, okay, he could, but Obama could have done a lot of stuff. Bush could have done a lot of stuff. Everybody could do different things. We have to trust a little bit. We have to trust in not just the government, but also in ourselves, in our neighbors, and our loved ones, that we're going to come together, we're going to work, and we're going to fight through this, instead of just filling hate speech with more hate speech. That's just one example as far as when it comes to what was going on there. And so I had to disconnect because it was hitting hard. Like, it was crazy. People I have no idea of, and I was, with Twitter, I was not I was not like political or nothing. It was all Disney, but I'd still get people sending me stuff, and it was ridiculous. I was just like, why? What? And it was affecting me. I had to get off it. So with Twitter now, the only thing you see are updates from the website, because that's connected automatically. I hardly go on there. Like, I don't have it on my phone. If I ever get on there, it's going to be basically through my computer, and that's so I can contact somebody to be on the show. That's about it. With Facebook, hardly am I on there. And I started actually defriending a lot of people. Not because I don't like them, but honestly because I just don't know them. And I realized I probably shouldn't have added them if I didn't know them, because I don't know what they believe in, and I don't know if we agree on things, and I don't know if we're a good companion, because, it's true. You don't have to be friends with everybody. You just don't. And so I started saying, I'm sorry, this person I don't know from, New Hampshire, I've never met you in my life, but I added you as a friend because I thought that I was supposed to do that. I'm going to defriend you now. You know what I mean? So, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think if you started doing that in your own personal feeds, you'll start realizing, wow, okay, this is a lot more cleaner. This is a lot more my style. I'm getting a lot more updates that I actually agree with or care about. And in that sense, the redefining of who you are is for a positive, not a negative. So I know this is a little different than obviously previous shows and stuff, but like I said, this is what I wanted to do with the podcast. This is what I wanted to share, which is, like I said, hopefully giving you ideas, hopefully giving you encouragement and inspiration and new looks on different things that come up day to day. We're still doing the interviews and stuff like that, but I wanted to share this one because for me personally, it was very personal. This is something I struggled with a lot and probably still do, honestly. I think, if I was to mess with Twitter again, if I was to, start just like accepting everybody on Facebook, I might fall down that rabbit hole again. And so that's why I try to avoid it. It's a very personal thing in that sense. And that's why I just encourage you. I'm not trying to tell you it's the end of the world and that they're all bad and you shouldn't use them because, like I said, fantastic Disney videos, fantastic cat videos all day long. But I would encourage you to kind of just take a moment and think yourself of moments that maybe you think were not moments that you truly would stand behind. Maybe it's not something you truly believe that is the way you are, but this person got you riled up. And so you wanted to get back at them or you wanted to, do something in that sense. And if that's the case, maybe start thinking about ways to separate yourself in that way. Don't let it redefine you because it'll affect you in your everyday to-day life. And if that happens, it's a lot harder to kind of rediscover who you are because then people start reacting to the way you're acting. And before you know it, it just becomes a circle. They're acting with you, they start getting really, touchy with you and feeling and real bitter with you because you were like that to them first a while back. But you don't remember that because you had just read a post on Facebook. And so you didn't know. But they've already associated that with you. And now when you're all cool and trying to be like, I'm fine, what is wrong with you? You know what I mean? So you don't want that kind of circle going around. So you just want to take a minute. And maybe the show wasn't for you. Maybe this is something you don't relate to, and that's okay too. Maybe there's other things you could take from it as far as maybe other things that could be redefining who you are, because nothing should be doing that. You don't want anything to be doing that for the negative. You want positive things to be doing that to you, of course. If somebody's trying to help you lose weight, you want to take what they're saying in belief because that's going to help you redefine who you are and change your way of eating, change your way of exercising. If somebody's trying to tell you how to be a better employee, you want to take that because that's going to help you get to a better level at your job, or maybe then you can get into a management position if you want, or maybe a pay raise. Like, you know what I mean? You want to make sure to allow things like that when it's a positive, but when it's a negative and it's not going to change anything that's, for you in the way it should, take a break, take a time out. Readjust your ideas, readjust, your what you're doing and say, is this really worth it? And when it's social media, most of the time, it really isn't. But of course, ending the show, we do want to talk about some quotes. This is still Disney. So one of my favorite, I always have to say at the end because sometimes I know I go off topic. But my quote today comes from the Quotable Walt Disney. So the Quotable Walt Disney is a book that just has a lot of Walt Disney quotes. I'll have the link in the show notes so you can check it out. But he said, I'm not influenced by the technique or fashions of any other motion picture company. Now, the reason why I put that is because obviously Walt Disney did not have Facebook. He did not have a Twitter. He did not have an Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, any of that stuff. But in his world at his time, he still faced the same issues we had, which is outside influences trying to either undermine or trying to make us react a different way, trying to make us feel different, think different than what we really are, And so with Walt, he had an idea, he had a vision for what he wanted. So what he's saying is he didn't let any other, outside of any other outside influences come and adjust that for him because he knew what he wanted and he wanted to stay focused on his goal. And that's what you want to be doing too. You don't want to let these other things come in and mess you up when you already have who you are set in stone. The other quote is a very simple proverb that I really enjoy as well. It's very simple. It just says bad company ruins good morals. Like, how simple can you get? Like, that's like as simple as it could be. You hang around with negative people, you're going to become a negative person. You hang around with people who say you can't, you're going to believe that you can't. You hang around with people who say that you're terrible and that you're wrong and that you're, a bad person. You're going to start feeling and believing that it's true. Don't hang around with bad company. It'll ruin your good morals. That comes from 1 Corinthians 15:33. It's again, like I said, very simple thing to remember. Write it on your mirror. Write it on your phone as a reminder, whatever it is, because it's a good thing to remember that, you want to be surrounding yourself with people who care and who believe and who love and who, like and appreciate life the way you do. So again, guys, I really hope you enjoyed the show. This podcast, don't forget, of course, is live. You can always check it out on Instagram. You can follow there at Talk About the Magic, or Facebook when I figure out how to go live on both at Talk About the Magic. But on Instagram, like I said, because I've been a lot more selective, I don't just follow everybody. I kind of, if you're a Disney person, you putting up Disney pictures, I'm probably going to follow you because I'm in Texas. I don't get no Disney. So, but even if you're not, but you're somebody who, agrees with me in the sense of, we want to be positive. We want to have a positive outlook. I have no problem following someone like you because that's what I'm wanting to. I'm wanting to just have, this is our only life. I don't know why you'd want to waste it on just spreading vile and hate and just being bitter and angry. I know sometimes we fall for that. I know sometimes it's easy for us to kind of slip into that mode, but why? Let's get out of that and focus on having a fun and appreciative life that we truly enjoy, and we want to help others to enjoy as well. And of course, guys, please be sure to check out, you can check out secondstarapparel.com, or over on Talk About the Magic, you can check out the Etsy store there. You can get customized shirts there. You can get some Disney-inspired apparel and all this stuff as well. So please be sure to check that out. I hope you have an amazing, awesome night, day, weekend, or whenever you're listening to this. And as always, stay magical.
This was the Talk About the Magic podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to rate, subscribe, and share with a friend. Thanks for listening, and as always, stay magical.